Thank you everybody for coming out today. And thank you for all of the support that you continue to show and all of the support that you have continued to express and the way in which you've continued to express it. I think it's been so important to the Kaba family, who you'll hear from soon. It's been immense to them, and it makes all the difference. Now you know that, or you may know that yesterday there were 2 police officers stabbed in central London. Now I mention that because it's wrong for them to have been hurt in the course of their duty. And I'm sure everybody here agrees with that. And loads of people have expressed that. Unfortunately, when Chris Kaba was shot and killed, the narratives that we heard from the media were that he was a drill artist, were that he was a rapper, were that he'd been to prison before. Look at him, he's clearly a criminal. All of those really horrible and disgusting things. Yeah. And almost as if to say, because of any of that, because he was a black man, that he may have deserved what happened to him. And that is a really popular narrative. You may have seen it online, you may have seen people say these things and think to yourself, how could people think things like this? But they do. So when people say and get up and shout that Black Lives Matter, and people say don't be ridiculous, all lives matter, there's a clear reason why they're doing it. Because in popular narrative, Black lives don't. If they didn't, people wouldn't be given justifications for Chris to die in that way. No one deserves to die in that way. Nobody deserves to die in that way. Let's be absolutely clear. And we also have to talk about crime in this country and justice in this country, because we know that it's not about whether or not you did something wrong. It's about who you are. It's about how much money you have. If you are a young black man, you are more likely to find yourself in certain situations than other people, simply because of your race, simply because of your class, simply because of who you are. So the idea that anybody in this country at the moment, especially with how disgraceful our justice system is, should deserve what happens to them is fundamentally wrong. And I mention these things not necessarily because they are directly related to what's happening with this campaign, but I think everybody needs to be absolutely clear about what's happening, absolutely clear about the narrative that the media put out in the first instance, absolutely clear about the narrative some disgraceful people put out. And to all of them, I just have to say, shame on you. Shame on all of you. To all of you here, media here today, anybody, if you put that out before, shame on you. Because that is the reason why people continue to kill black men freely, and people don't stand up and say anything about it. So the next time, just like other people that have died recently, when somebody dies, regardless of what you think they have or haven't done, show that sympathy, show that humanity, because they are human beings. Now the Kaba family have been quite clear in what they've asked, and I think there has been some shock at the level of dignity that they have done it with. They have called for peace every single time. They have even called for people not to make anti-monarchy statements because they say it's got nothing to do with the campaign, and they're absolutely right. All they want is justice. They don't want to see any unrest because they understand that that type of violence is what ended their son's life. So we thank you for continuing to respect that. And today you're going to hear some of the demands that the family have asked for again, and let's be very clear. They have said that they want to make sure and understand whether or not the police were specifically following Chris. That's going to be huge in terms of what happened. And there are a lot of things that, if you've known, that the campaign has asked for, they're just for the family. We're not asking for the whole world to see the body-worn camera footage before the investigation happens. That's something that the family have done and been able to achieve with your support. So they will now see that body-worn camera footage. The officer has finally been suspended. No, actually, someone's saying that is standard. That is not standard. Did you know that in law, even once they are under investigation from the IOPC, they may be removed from active duty, but a police officer, even in that situation, even when something that they have done has ended someone's life, they're not automatically suspended. Because it's immoral. That's not automatically suspended. It's not automatic. They are not automatically suspended. They are made to wait for the decision of a senior officer. That is fundamentally wrong. And if that's an issue in law, then that absolutely needs to be changed. And the Kaba family have asked, on top of that, for this officer to be interviewed under caution immediately, as a normal person would if they were being investigated for homicide. It makes no sense to me, and I'm a politician, it makes no sense to me how, firstly, if in any other profession, if you did something that ended someone's life, you would have been suspended immediately. And if you were being investigated for homicide, you would be interviewed under caution immediately, because that is what you do. There's no looking for who did it. We know who did it. We just want to know whether or not they were guilty. And that's the final thing that they've asked for. They want to make sure that there is no delay in any charge. And there will be a delay in any charge if the proper steps are not taken. There are a load of bureaucratic reasons as to why we're being told that this can't happen. And that's why we need you to continue standing with the Kaba family, standing up against any bureaucracy, standing up against the racism which the IOPC have now said that they're going to investigate. Something else that has happened, something else which is momentous, and I don't believe I've seen quite often in any case like this. As you may have heard if you were here last week, this is going to take stamina, and it's important that all of you keep coming out for the Kaba family every single time you can. If you're doing it online, that's absolutely great to counter all those negative narratives and make sure people know the real story. Thank you very much.
No justice!